Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joe Stunner Boxing. Callum Smith has been talking about his options following his excellent victory over Joshua Buatsi. He really did prove that there's, life in the old dog yet, as they say. I think he's in his mid-30s now, about 35, Callum. And he was, most people, and myself included, thought Buatsi would beat him. Buatsi went in undefeated. They had a thrilling fight, really great fight that kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people because it was on very, very early during that, bonanza of a card, the last crescendo, the Bivol-Beterbiev, rematch with all those great fights underneath it. But it was a fantastic fight. And I personally would like to see a rematch. I think it would be a sellout, maybe in Liverpool or, the O2 in London or something like that. It would just be a fantastic Saturday night, put a British boxing card on and that rematch at the top of the tree. That would be fantastic, I think. However, Callum did pick up the WBO interim belt, which had belonged to Buatsi. And he's looking, understandably, I suppose, at his age, he's looking for a world title shot. And he's talked about the possibility of facing Dimitri Bivol. Now, he'll have to get it to the back of the queue, of course, because we're talking about a third fight, which is the one I would like to see between Bivol and Beterbiev. They're one each. I like trilogies. I like the idea of historically of trilogies. And I think these two are so well matched, such contrasting styles, they've given us two great fights. I want to see a third one. A lot of people say, no, we've seen it twice. Let's have David Benavidez fighting Bivol. Yeah, Benavidez-Bivol's a great fight, but I want to see that trilogy first. But Callum's also been talking about Bivol because they met as amateurs. I think he said 13 years ago. By the way, Callum gave a extensive interview to Sky Sports, which is where I'm getting all this info from. But they fought as amateurs. Bivol Smith, I don't have a problem with that fight at all. Bivol, of course, Smith has already fought Beterbiev. It did not go according to plan, to put it mildly. But he wants, understandably, he wants to fight Bivol. Bivol himself is no spring chicken now, but I'd watch that fight, definitely. Another option would be Callum Smith against the aforementioned David Benavidez. Another great matchup, Would I make Benavidez the favourite in that fight? Yes. Do I think Smith would be a live underdog? Yes. I think that would be it's a good matchup. Smith, regardless of the Beterbiev defeat, because Beterbiev jumped on Smith early in that fight and really took him out of his game plan early. And all credit to Beterbiev, great fighter Beterbiev. But I don't think we saw the best of Callum Smith in that fight. And also there was a bit of ring rust. He'd been inactive. I think at 175, Smith is a good proposition for anyone. So Benavidez, he scored an excellent win over David Morrell. He's only had two fights at 175. Good wins though. And I would definitely watch Callum against Benavidez. Yeah, probably Callum would have to travel for that one. Maybe put it on a Riyadh card perhaps. But he might have to go to America for that. I don't know. We'd see. But there's another option for Callum. And that is that he could jump to cruiserweight and face Badou Jack, who is, I think he's 41 now. But he holds the WBC cruiserweight title. And I think he was put as a champion in recess, or God knows what the WBC and the WBA and all these bloody awful organisations do. But I think he was put into recess, and now he's been reinstated as the full fat champion or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know. Anyway, he's got the WBC belt, Badou Jack. And as Callum Smith said, I don't consider myself to be a cruiserweight, but I don't consider Badou Jack to be a cruiserweight either. And I think that's probably true because Callum Smith himself was an enormous super middleweight, 168 pounder. He won belts there. He was Ring Magazine champ. He won the Muhammad Ali trophy for winning the World Boxing Super Series. And Badou Jack himself is a former 168-pounder. He picked up a belt there. He won an interim belt, WBA interim belt, because he beat Nathan Cleverly at 175, and then he jumped up and stopped Alana Makabu for the WBC cruiserweight title. Makabu, of course, to British fans will be known as the guy who got knocked out, flawed, but nevertheless got knocked out by Tony Bellew. So I think Callum is right about that. Badou Jack is not really a cruiserweight. He's a very, very small cruiserweight, and he's also 41. So that would be an interesting fight. And Callum is a big lad. It doesn't look like he's got an ounce of fat on him at 175. It's a big jump to cruiser. Another 25 pounds, of course, but could he carry it? I mean, if he came in at, I don't know, 188, 190, that would be, he probably still wouldn't look like he's overweight at all. Whereas Jack against the Makabu did look like a small, mind you, to be honest with him, Alana Makabu's wasn't never a big cruiserweight either. So that is an option for Callum Smith. But I think the fact that he has all these options is really, I've got to be honest, I'm quite surprised, because Smith's career, it kind of drifted. He moved to 175, looked pretty good for a couple of fights. Then he fought Beterbiev and got wiped out. And then you were thinking, well, is he just there for one last hurrah, one last paycheck against Buatsi? But that win, such a good win on paper, even though you could argue that Buatsi has kind of underachieved a bit, it's still a really good win. And I think it's kind of revitalised his career. You know, it not just probably in his own mind, but in the minds of the public. Again, I would really love to see a rematch with Buatsi. Put it on in London at the O2, something like that, be a sellout, stack the card with British talent. I think that would be a great British, good old-fashioned British Saturday night DAZN card. Not pay-per-view, Eddie. All right. So I don't know, what do you think? Where do you think Smith goes from here? Do you think he's got another world title in him? Stranger things have happened. Let me know. Let me know your opinions. Who should he fight next? What's his best option? What's his most realistic option? Comments below. And as always, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you don't mind, because you're helping us out. And you're a helpful person. You want to help us out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. As always, looking forward to reading your comments, and bye for now.